Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing another scout tutorial, and I apologize for how long it's been since my last one. Somehow it's already been over 2 months. I kind of lost track of time and neglected to make guides like this as often as I wanted to, but don't worry because I'm going to be getting back into it. In this tutorial, I'm going to be giving some very important tips for Scout, and I'll be going over some broad topics briefly. Stay tuned for tutorials on much more specific topics coming in the future. This video is going to lay as a basic foundation. In my last Scout tutorial, I gave very crucial tips for getting better at fighting other Scouts. Link to that video is in the description and at the end of this video. Today, I'm going to be going over possibly the most crucial part of bringing your Scout to the next level. And no, this video is not about aim. Yes, that's extremely important as well, but in this video, I'm going to be talking about game sense, and specifically how to choose your fights and how to go about engaging enemies. Probably the biggest mistake I see Scouts make is getting too aggressive, taking on fights that put them at a major disadvantage. The class Scout is designed for flanking enemies, which his fast mobility allows him to do. What you do not want to do is run straight into clusters of enemies, getting yourself in over your head. If a bunch of clustered enemies sight you and you don't have the support of your team or anything, it's always the right decision to use your speed to your advantage and get the hell out of dodge. Scout is the king of 1 versus 1. He is not designed for taking on several enemies at once. If you have the drop on the enemy team, by all means go for a kill or two, especially if you see an opening to the team's medic, but recognize if you have the potential to take them all out. And if you see that you're clearly outmatched, do as much as you can, and instead of staying and dying, escape with your life. Now, this might seem like really obvious advice, especially to the Scouts out there who are more experienced, but this is a mistake I see happen way too often. Scouts play way too aggressively on pubs. You can be the best shot in Team Fortress, but you still die all the time if you can't recognize when you're not capable of winning a fight. If you begin to play more conservatively, you'll notice that your lives will be much longer and much better spent. You don't have to fight every single enemy you see. Only engage in fights in scenarios such as when you have the upper hand, when the enemy has the same chance of success but you think you can out-DM them, when you want to create a distraction for your team, or maybe in moments of complete desperation such as when you're about to lose the round. Start to think more about how you're going to approach an enemy, like where you're going to move and how, whether or not you can get a height advantage or if the enemy has a height advantage, things like this. I'll be getting into how to approach certain classes, but first let's talk about med picks. Do not go for the medic when you know you can't pull it off. This tip is aimed more to competitive play, although it can easily apply to pubs just the same. In a competitive game, the enemy medic's life is almost always more valuable than your own when you're playing Scout, although it's crucial to recognize if the med pick is realistic. It's very common to see Scouts run into the entire enemy team head-on at an attempt to somehow bypass everyone and get to the medic. Sometimes it might work, especially against uncoordinated players on a pub, but not nearly enough for this strategy to be useful. You have to start valuing your own life, since you play a very crucial role to your Highlander or Sixes team. If it's a pub, your life is important too. Don't recklessly throw it away going for a med pick you know you can't get. Now, don't interpret this as never go for med picks. After all, Scout is a pick class. It's in his job description after all. My point is, do not go for med picks that you stand absolutely no chance of getting. If the medic is in a big cluster of enemies, only engage if you have the element of surprise and your chances of success are great enough to take the risk. A med pick can quickly change the swing of the game, but sometimes your own death can as well, especially in 6 versus 6. If you go for a reckless med pick and get killed with no success, you'll hurt your team. Don't let this discourage you from going for med picks, but just analyze the situation and try to see the probability of actually pulling it off. If you have absolutely no chance, spare your own life. Taking risks can pay off big time, but avoid taking ones that you know will not accomplish anything. In competitive play, it is very important to coordinate with your team. You can wait until your enemies are distracted and use this to your advantage, or push in with your team and go for it if you're confident enough in your ability to pull it off. If you get a successful med pick amongst a crowd of enemies, your job is not complete. Next step is to get out of there if you can. If you can't, it may not be that big of a deal, but doing so will put your team at even a greater advantage. Since we're talking about crowds of enemies, let's talk about the scenario where your medic has Uber and your team is pushing in. If it's competitive, communication is essential. Make sure you don't go too deep into the enemy team, leaving your own team in the dust. This is a super common mistake amongst even the best players of the game from time to time, inevitably. In casual, just pay attention to your teammates and make sure they're still with you. It's really easy to get caught up in the action and push way beyond the protection of your own team. This doesn't necessarily have to be when your medic has Uber, but just when you're generally pushing with your team. If your medic is using Uber and they know what's up, they'll hopefully flash you so you can get in there and target enemies that are wounded by your demo or whoever's being Ubered, all while you're overhealed ideally. Now, when it comes to 1 versus 1, recognize when you have the upper hand and whether or not it's smart to engage or run away for help. I did say Scout is the 1 versus 1 king, but consider the following scenarios. There's a soldier coming down a cramped hallway towards you, and there's absolutely no way you can dodge his oncoming rockets. A heavy on full health is a good ways away from you and is aware of your presence, giving him all the time he needs to mow you down before you can even get in range. You spot a scout from a ways away and he's aware of you, but you have health disadvantage or you just don't want to risk losing the battle. My point is, know when to retreat and possibly attempt to bait these challenging foes towards your team so they can assist, rather than facing them alone and risking death. If you have the drop on them or very clearly have the upper hand, go for it, but as Scout, don't put yourself into tough situations when it's unnecessary or super risky to do so. Because of his speed, Scout has the luxury of choosing his own battles most of the time, so choose them wisely. When engaging an enemy, there are different approaches for every class you fight. When fighting a soldier, stay at around medium range where you can predict and dodge rockets. Height advantage will help you, and likewise it can guarantee a soldier victory if he obtains it. Avoid fighting soldiers in cramped places and instead utilize open areas. Sometimes you may be able to bait a soldier into a place where you feel more comfortable fighting him. With a demo, if they have their sticky bomb launcher out, jump all over them, although pipes will perhaps be more threatening than rockets when you're airborne. If the demo pulls out his grenade launcher, which he most likely will, try your best to dodge the grenades. It can be very difficult for a demo to hit a fast scout at close range with his grenade launcher, so take this to your advantage. Change directions unpredictably to avoid being hit. With pyros, it is crucial to stay out of air blast range, as it can be very difficult to recover after you've been air blasted by a good pyro. Your best bet is probably to backpedal if they're chasing you, and to just attempt staying out of their flamethrower range while remaining close enough to do decent damage. With snipers and spies likewise, I personally tend to rely more on the A and D keys over jumping, since these two classes have hit scan weapons and jumping makes you a bit more predictable. Especially with, but not limited to, spies, stay out of melee range. You don't want to embarrass yourself. This same strategy carries over to engineers and medics pretty well, although you may find that fighting a really good shotgun engie may feel very similar to fighting a scout. Do not let your guard down. Be extremely cautious as to not get into a medic's melee range, because you do not want to give him Uber if he's using the Uber saw. With an NG sentry, range can be your friend, although you can't do much if the NG is there repairing it. You can run around a sentry faster than it can rotate, although this is stupid hard to pull off. In the 5+ years I've played this game, I've probably pulled that off in play less than 10 times, level 1s and mini sentries not included. Remember, sentry guns are a direct counter to scouts, so have your team help you out. Perhaps use Bonk Atomic Punch to pass a sentry or to distract it while your team attacks it. If no one is there to protect it, you may also be able to use a corner to take peek shots at it, although beware of its rockets, they may surprise you. Heavies are probably the hardest class to face in a 1 versus 1, since they put out damage faster than you can. It's best to prey on them when they're on low health, when their minigun is not spun up, and especially when they're not aware of you. Maybe attempt to circle strafe around them, as this can be very effective if they're not great at tracking, and also double jump over their head while shooting at them. You may also be able to use a corner to your advantage, peeking from it and taking shots very quickly. But remember, in a fair scout versus heavy fight, you have the disadvantage. In summary, when you're playing scout, don't play fair, fight dirty. Use the element of surprise to your advantage and use your speed to quickly retreat if need be. Try to ensure that you have an advantage over the enemy, whether it be health, height, the element of surprise, or anything at all that you can work with. Do not get overly aggressive, whether that means taking on too many enemies at once, running straight into a cluster of enemies that is fully aware of you, going for a med pick that is impossible, or just engaging in unnecessarily dangerous battles in general. I really hope this video helps you get better at Scout and that you maybe learned a new thing or two. I apologize if this topic wasn't advanced enough for you and you already knew everything I covered. This tutorial was very basic, but it leaves me room to expand on things in the future. I may focus on specific game modes and the different competitive mode strategies in future videos, so stick around if you're interested in that. If you disagree with anything I said in this video, please let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video, show you did by giving it a like, and feel free to subscribe for more content like this in the future. If you're interested in more content, also feel free to check out my other videos for stuff like this. Have an awesome rest of your day or night, and peace out.